This is the area where David wrote many of the Psalms. This is interesting. I like David. David, in which age David was anointed? How old was he, David, when he was anointed? 17.
17.
When was he a king? Which age? Very according to the Torah. It's mentioned 30. 13 years he was living, hunted, fleeing from King Saul, living like a dog, it's mentioned even. Here hiding on those hills, in this area. But thanks to this time, God also needed to prepare him. Alright? Thanks to this time we have the Psalms that still today encouraging and strengthen people in desperate time. So look around, maybe we'll find those animals that even are mentioned in the Psalms in Psalm 108, 104. Psalm 104 in verse 18. The high hills. All right, we are at the mountain here. The high hills are for the wild goats. Okay, those are the ibex. That's the Gedi, the Yael. Maybe you heard those names, Yael, the wild goats. And the cliffs are the refuge for the rock badgers. Those are the hyrax, the rock hyrax. So those two animals that you have here are mentioned in one verse in our Bible. All right, let's move more. By the way, those holes, those are grave niches. All right, of calculated time. That means at least 4,500 years ago. Okay, grave here they found at that area. And I read from 1 Samuel 24. Now, it happened when King Saul had returned from following the Philistines. All right, we've been at the area of the Philistine battlefields already. That it was told to him, saying, "Take note, David is in the wilderness of Ein Gedi." That's the place. Then Saul took 3,000 chosen men from all Israel and went to seek David and his men on the rocks of the wild goats. Here we again have this unique name of this place. Wild goats, it's Gedi or Yael. Alright, this is the ibex that we find here around, this animal. So he came to the sheepfold by the road where there was a cave. Alright, we have a cave above there. Alright, you cannot see it now, but there is a cave here. Okay. And Saul went in to attend to his needs. David and his men were staying also deep inside the cave. And I like this part. You know, I can believe, I know my Jewish fellow men, right? They cannot be quiet. As you know, you heard them. Everywhere where the Jews are, it's very noisy. How come 600 men in the cave and King Saul taking a nap there did not hear any of them? I cannot, okay? I know my guys, okay? I'm a Jewish man. They are not so quiet, okay? But at least probably God did also hear a miracle keeping them quiet, okay? So we have David with his soldiers inside the cave, right? And Saul taking a nap in front of the cave. Then the man of David said to him, "This is the day of which the Lord said to you, behold, I will deliver your enemy into your hand, that you may do to him as seems good to you." Remember, they want to go get rid of King Saul. And think about David, what was it that he did not do what his warriors, his friends said to him. Right? We are very quick to say, this is the day that the Lord has done. That we should, let's go and do it. That's your will, it's not God's will. Okay? And then David arose and secretly cut off a corner of Saul's robe. Even that was too much for him. Now it happened afterward that David's heart troubled him because he had cut Saul's robe. And he said to his men, the Lord forbid that I should do this thing to my master, the Lord's anointed, Mashiach Adonai. Think about it. He mentioned many times, even if he was his enemy, most enemy of David, he was a Mashiach Adonai, anointed of God. So you don't touch it. God has his timing. I told you, those 13 years had a purpose. From 17, the year of anointment of David, to the year that he was the king, became the king. Alright? But we sometimes want to take by force our role, our position. And this is not what David. David, you have to understand, David, if you continue reading, David sparing a life. You know, he could to kill him. And 2 chapters later, we have a similar situation. David could kill Saul. He did not do it. He spared a life. And he, in my eyes, already had those messianic character. Okay, what Jesus told us. Bless those who curse you. Right? Pray for those who persecute you. And exactly that's what David is doing. He spared a life. He knows that that's not the will of God. That's not the time that God wants me to be already a king. Alright? And then of course you see how Saul, embarrassed, totally embarrassed now, replied to him. When David said to him, after whom has the king of David come out? Whom do you pursue? A dead dog, a flea. Right? Therefore, let the Lord be judge, and judge between you and me, and see and plead my case, and deliver me out of your hand. And then Saul answered very nicely, is it you, voice, my son David? And Saul lifted up his voice and wept. Then he said to David, you are more righteous than I. And he even said that you will be once the king of Israel. Amazing, right? And if you read the story, how David sparing the life of this king who were pursuing him, you cannot remember the story in the New Testament. What we see, another Saul, Paul, remember Paul? Also known as Saul, when he was on his way to Damascus, remember? Getting the first believers, hunting those. And God revealed to him and said, Saul, Saul, why do you pursue me? Interesting, the same names. He is pursuing, Saul is pursuing here, another pursuing there. Interesting story in the New Testament, right? So David, again, has so many messianic characters. Okay, that's why I like this person. Okay, he even, if you know the story of sparing another life, you know the Shimei, the person who cursed him, the Benjamite who cursed David, and the soldiers also said to him, go and kill this man. No, maybe this curse will once be a blessing to me. And it was. This man, God, I like when you read the Bible, this Shimei, that he spared the life in the desert, also became, afterward, 500 years later, Mordecai and Esther are descendants of this Shimei. They are Benjamites. If you read the story of Esther, You read Mordecai, son of, you come to Shini. The one person that David spared alive. So that's how God works, because King Saul spared sinfully alive. Remember, God told him to kill everyone. And King Agag, the Amalekites, he spared the life of one king. Who came out of this king that was sinfully spared life? Haman, the Agagite. He was a descendant of this one king that King Saul should have, according to God, killed. But he spared the life sinfully, and almost that person, Haman, many years later from this earth, almost eliminate the nation Israel. And God, thank God, in the same way he prepared the person by another sparing of life, David did, and out of them came the answer already to Haman, and that was Esther and Mordecai. You see how beautiful God works? Amen. Alright? So that's David. David is very special. Alright? So all those Psalms of how he was strengthened in the wilderness came from this area. Alright? This beautiful place till today. Through all the year, water coming